Incredibly many people are currently complaining about fatigue and also deep exhaustion. So, this feeling that life is in a state of upheaval and you can't quite grasp it, and you just sense that the energy is consistently at a very low level. And in this podcast episode, I would like to establish and explain the connection between your exhaustion and your awakening consciousness. And I want to show you the profound solution in 4 very decisive steps through which you can truly dive into a highly energized life. Yes, and it's super simple. Yes, furthermore, we will uncover your problem magnet and you will learn how to disempower it. So this episode remains really exciting until the very end. And I'm very happy that you are here and warmly welcome you to your Live Happy podcast. My name is Linda Giese. I have been a spiritual mentor for over 20 years, the author of the book Consciousness Next Level, and the founder of the Being Potential Method. It's a groundbreaking method that reconnects you with a part of yourself. It allows you to get to know the part of you that you have likely buried in your childhood due to traumatic experiences, upbringing, societal expectations, and the education system. So this bending syndrome, yes, it prevents us from knowing what forces are truly within us, and our being potential encompasses our strengths, our powers, and our intrinsic motivators. They are like the life compass that ensures you go straight into your soul plan, your life plan, so that you can live fulfilled and happily. And yes, with everything that comes with it. If you would like to know more about this, I would be very happy to invite you to our free live show. There, I will show you how to activate your being potential. Yes, it's best to bring your biggest problem directly to this live show. With a bit of luck, we can talk about your challenge and also find a solution. Okay, I am really looking forward to seeing you. The link to this live show can be found in the text of this podcast. You have probably also perhaps indeed noticed the common thread that runs through your process of awakening consciousness. It's like a loop that keeps repeating itself, while also triggering deeper processes each time. It feels like just when you think, okay, I'm done, it somehow starts all over again, but in an even more intense depth. And I took the time to look at the whole thing from a bird's eye view and developed a simplified perspective that will help you understand your processes, support them, and thus smoothly transition into your awakening consciousness and into an energized life. And from this bird's eye view, 4 phases, or as I would call them, steps, reveal themselves, which are naturally intertwined and interconnected. Therefore, you will not be able to skip any step, and that is very important. In my consulting practice, I often experience when clients come to me and say, yes, I have already done that process, I have already done this, and I have done this much coaching, and so on. But they often try to bypass or avoid one or sometimes even several of the 4 important steps. And with that, it is of course clear that the entire process is blocked. As a result, fatigue, exhaustion, lack of energy, and other problems are a completely logical consequence. It is very important that we understand that the 4 steps are truly interconnected and that we cannot skip any of these 4. I don't want to keep you in suspense any longer. Let's dive right into the 4 steps, then we'll discuss the solutions. And we'll also address your problem magnet and the corresponding solution. Okay, so the first of the 4 steps is the necessity to permanently raise your energy. Very, very important. Only you can do this. The second of the 4 important steps is to free yourself from your past story and from your fears. This is fundamental. The third of the important steps is to overcome inner boundaries. This means no longer accepting your beliefs, your limitations, your thought patterns, and your belief systems as your limit. Pretty intense, right? But that's the loop we're stuck in all the time. And now we come to point 4. Truly living your life fulfilled. These are indeed big steps that have such a massive impact. For these 4 steps together lead to your awakening consciousness. And super exciting, your awakening consciousness challenges you to deepen these 4 steps even further. I'm getting this image of the lying eight, the infinity symbol. Here, the awakening consciousness rises again, and here the 4 steps are deepened, and so on. And that works. It is a mutually reinforcing principle and ultimately completely logical to me. How do we move forward? So, if you are listening to this podcast episode, you have probably felt for a long time that something in your life is not right. Maybe it's a single area of your life, or you feel like you want to break free completely, but you have no idea how. Yes, or what, or yes, that exists too. There are always people who come to our live show or who join our program who say, there is something, but I don't know. I don't know what. You sense that there must be something more than the daily grind, more than all the problems that constantly pile up in front of you, more than this monotony, more than this leaden fatigue that increasingly grips you. But perhaps this fatigue is really a sign that you have grown tired of constantly hanging out in the same loop of the old tune. Boom. Perhaps it's time to look at the whole thing from a completely new perspective. Problems are rarely what they seem at first glance. The real issue is oftentimes that indeed a part of you can have a problem with almost everything. So there is a part of you that constantly looks for the hair in the soup and finds everything somehow problematic. And I call this part our problem magnet. Everyone has it within themselves. And when this part within us feels entrusted with too much power, it can ruin our entire life. This is really crucial because, as the term problem magnet suggests, it not only sees a problem in everything, but it also magically attracts these problems. So, and thus a very, 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 very important aspect can already be found in step 1, namely that the solution does not lie in changing the external circumstances, but in changing this problem magnet within yourself, taking away its power. Instead of allowing external circumstances and your problem magnet to drain your energy, I invite you to activate your consciousness of inner solutions. This marks a shift in power within yourself, away from being a problem magnet and towards a solution consciousness. For we also have this part within us. We just need to activate it and ensure that it remains activated and is not pushed aside again by the problem magnets. With that, step 1 is fully established, and you will see how dramatically this switch elevates your energy. And this is especially fundamental in times of change we find ourselves, for the changes that the transformation brings can indeed frighten us, or conversely, they can be frightening. Some try to suppress these fears, 2001, yes, and in the long run, that is a very unsuccessful endeavor. For it is much more effective to acknowledge this fear, accept it, and then let it go. Yes, because fear can always seize you again. You can either let it control you, or you can confront it with the goal of reaching step 2, which is to become free. Let's remember step 2, use and free yourself. Yes, because at some point it will become clear to you, or perhaps it has already become clear, that you no longer want to carry your emotional baggage with you. It doesn't matter who or what triggered this burden, you can free yourself from it. What if you stopped holding on to the dramas that block your energy? Imagine you no longer had to really struggle with this emotional stuff a bit. And this happens as soon as you decide to let go of your dramatic story and your blockages. Then you are free again and no longer trapped in stagnant energy. The constant inner dialogue, the doubts, the worries, the brooding is nothing more than suffering. You might be struggling with thoughts like, what if I embarrass myself? Or can I trust this person? Yes, or something similar. All these considerations are ultimately expressions of deep-seated primal pain, and we avoid feeling that again with all our might. And that is a pattern. But what happens when you break this pattern? What happens when you stop constantly identifying with your thoughts, with your emotions? In this moment, you are free 2001. Welcome to step 3. You are overcoming your inner boundaries. And I know that during this phase, one must be incredibly mindful and constantly on guard against their own thoughts. I remember that at first, it felt to me like I had to tend to a sack of fleas. But trust me, it is achievable and it is immensely worthwhile. And of course, you will be tested 2021 as soon as you decide to be unconditionally happy. Wow. Life will continue to throw challenges at you. However, these challenges are your opportunity to grow beyond yourself. Well, I love it by now. And I perceive these challenges as a challenge. Yes, and with that, you are already in step 4. And it's not about always choosing the easiest path. This is a major misunderstanding in the spiritual bubble. It's about growing, staying true to your decision to be happy and free, even when it becomes difficult, to understand that everything that needs to be done is done by you, that you can no longer push yourself away, you can no longer hide. A happy, fulfilled life in an awakened consciousness brings self-responsibility. Are you ready to embark on this adventure? Are you ready to revolutionize your life from the inside out, to move to the next higher frequency and anchor yourself there, experiencing the fulfillment that is so deeply rooted in freedom? Yes, fulfillment is not found in captivity. No, the fulfillment of the 2001st century is deeply rooted in freedom. If you are ready, then take the first step. It is like a rebirth. An energized life awaits you. I want to be clear. I would be thrilled to see you at our next Being Potential live show. There we can really dedicate ourselves to your very personal topic, your challenge, your difficulty. And I, yes, want to point out again that the link for the free registration can be found below this podcast episode. All you have to do is sign up and actually show up. And it's best to bring your biggest problem with you. I would be very happy if you enjoyed this video, if you give me a thumbs up, yes, subscribe to the channel, and if we also connect on Instagram. From the heart, I wish you all the best. Your sister in spirit, your Linda Gieser.